Welcome back from intermission, kids. And I hope you enjoyed that. I better get ready. After the show, I'm going to go upstairs and dance. It's a surprise. Okay, we're back. And I'll get to it, but I read a little more about William Girdler. Girdler. And I want to see his first movie, Asylum of Satan. That sounds fantastic. Anyway, we'll get to what happened. This is Day of the Animals. God, I'm covering up the freaking title. Day of the Animals. For centuries, they were hunted for bounty, fun, and food. Now it's their turn. Wow. I got kind of serious there. Remember in season 1 when I was kind of serious all the time? I think I was depressed because I lost my job. I'm having much more fun now. Might be because I can drink on the show. Yeah, no information on here, so good thing I wrote some on the review. That sure went the wrong way. Oh well. Day of the Animals, a 1977 Film Ventures International Warner Brothers picture. Got all that? William Girdler. This was not his last movie. The Manitou was his last movie. 1 year later, Christopher George, Leslie Nielsen, Linda Day George, Richard Jekyll again, Commander King from Star Trek, and who I am Mandela affected. Y'all familiar? You're all familiar with this. Mandela effect. Everybody thought that Nelson Mandela died in the 80s. That was Stephen Biko. Peter Gabriel sang a fucking song about it. So really, the Mandela effect is just a case of our memories not being worth a shit. Case in point. Who I thought was Shelley Winters was actually Ruth Roman playing Shelley Winters from Tentacles. Girdler returns to the wild with a bigger budget, more stars, and more animals. Oh, and 2 helicopters. Okay, I got to stop right there. A year later, William Girdler was killed in a helicopter crash while scouting locations for a movie about drug running. So not only not only the cliche helicopter, but he fucking died in a helicopter. Okay. Both helicopters are packed with tourists, city folk, and that would probably include me. I've spent some times in the woods. I've spent some times on a cattle ranch, but I'm still a city boy. So the helicopters lift these folks to the top of the mountain, where it will be presumably easy for them to hike down. Have y'all ever been hiking? Yeah, it's a bitch going up. But have you tried walking downhill on a gravelly-ass path? If you haven't, give it a go. See how you do. Leading this expedition is a fellow named Buckner, and that's Christopher George, and his native sidekick, who we'll call Kang. Along for the trip are the most unlikely bunch of hikers I've ever seen. Like, where do these people come from? We have a tough guy ad executive, Nilsson, a young lovey couple, an older, more distant couple, I would say on the verge of a divorce. This is just another one of the same. This is a really good whiskey, by the way, if you're contemplating. You know, there were more expensive whiskeys on the shelf, but this one was in the glass case for some reason. Is it like highly coveted and thieved? Anyway, the couple on the verge of a divorce, a goofy professor this time Jekyll plays, a guy with a bum leg on a fucking hike, and Shelley Winters and her son, and last but not least, a TV news anchor played by Linda Day George. Early in their journeys, things seem off. Our native friend notes that it's unusually quiet. Because, you know, I would say in the 70s, but even nowadays, the New Age, we still call them New Age, kind of hippie crystal people, they think Indians are magic. I guess I'm not supposed to say Indians. Indigenous people are magic. They're just indigenous people. They're more in tune with nature, yes. But not in this movie. They're magic. He probably puts his ear to the ground. Something's wrong here. I don't hear any animals. Not a chickamonkey to be heard. Just the occasional cry of an eagle or caw of a crow. And all of a sudden they're surrounded by birds. A la Hitchcock. Have you seen The Birds? You've all seen The Birds. I can make that reference. They are then attacked by wolves, said birds, cougars, etc., etc. Oh, pardon me. After Bitchy Mandy, I think she was from the older couple. Wow. I'm having a little indigestion. Buckner inexplicably sends her and her henpecked husband Frank off on their own for help. Don't ask me. It advances the plot. Okay? She gets killed, and Frank stumbles into a river where he finds a little girl. And he teams up with the little girl to find safety. Leslie Nielsen, always the heavy before Airplane. Yeah, the Naked Gun, all of that. That's who you now think of as Leslie Nielsen, but he was always the bad guy before Airplane. And he plays a pretty good bad guy. He was good at it, which shows you what a fine actor he was. Is Leslie Nielsen still around? God, now I got to look something else up. Once again, he's an asshole, and he divides the group. So half of them leave with him to go to the watchtower, wherever that is, nearby, I guess. And the other half leave with Buckner down the mountain. So we have 3 groups now. You got to count Frank and the little girl. Each vying for survival against increasing animal attacks. Mostly dogs now. Who will survive? That's really what I wrote here. Okay. I loved this movie as a kid. And it's still pretty good today. It's definitely environmentally preachy. I guess ahead of its time in that fashion. The real villain here being fluorocarbons. Now, I don't know how accurately sound that is, but at the time, fluorocarbons were eating a hole in the ozone layer. Or that was the prevailing science anyway. So I don't know how scientifically sound the movie is, but for a fantasy, it is plenty suspenseful. If I could pronounce words. Enough characters are likable in this movie that you actually root for them. Leslie Nielsen is not one of those characters that you root for. You really want him to get eaten by a wolf or even a fucking crow. Day of the Animals. 4. It's a 4-ring circus on feature 2 tonight. Day of the Animals. William Gertler. R.I.P., brother. I did not know. The man loved helicopters, so I guess he went down doing what he loved, right? Okay. I think we'll be back next week. So let's pick something out here. I'm going to go for this big fat one right here. I can't see what it says. I thought one of the dogs snuck down here and took a crap on my floor. It's just a piece of cardboard. Oh, this isn't a triple feature. But this is some good shit. Killers from Space. And that's not Mario Bava. But Mario Bava, Planet of the Vampires. So be sure y'all tune in next week. Because we're going to have a spacey, interplanetary kind of double feature. Now you know the drill. I don't care about thumbs up and whatever. Just talk to me. Leave some comments. Tell me I suck. Somebody did tell me I suck, but I trash Star Wars, so it's no wonder. Good night, kids.